Hey everyone, today we're going to have a look at the challenges in the new version of Miner Gun Builder. We're in version 3.0 now, which means we've got all sorts of fancy new things. We've got online stuff, but more importantly, the challenges, some of them are a bit harder to beat or a bit different from before. So we're just going to have a look at them one at a time, go through them. So the first one we're going to beat is this one here, finish mission 32. With Pirate Blade. That's the first one of strength. So on Pirate Blade, this challenge is basically just a do you know which items are good challenge. It's like, you know, if you know some good building tips, then you'll be fine at this challenge. I don't think you even need a damage cross here, but I might as well put it in to be fancy. So what we're going to do is the three best items for a lot of these challenges are going to be these three items. They're going to be the projectiles, the area of effect, and the piercing one. So we're going to put one of each of these guys there. And then we're going to put the piercing, and then on challenge mode as well, because you start with 1 damage, these ones here can actually be quite useful as well. So this and this will give us an extra 1 damage each, and then we might as well just put another one of each of these items here. Another projectile, another pierce. We don't really need another item. I'll put a bounce just for fun. It's always good to have some fun. So now the mission is mission 32, and challenge mode is on. Here we go. Let's try it out. Using my strength projectile there to do the strength challenges, and then I'll swap the projectiles when we're ready to do the next ones. So as you can see, I mean it's it's a bit overkill, but it works fine. The last one doesn't die as fast because of the piercing doesn't help you kill the last block. There you go, and we beat that challenge. That was the easy one. There's challenge 1 done. So now we're up to challenge 2. Challenge 2, we're going to have to use backsword. And this is a really fun challenge because you only get to use 2 types of items, and what that means is it means literally only 2 of these. So you could use that and that, or that, and this, but a bit weird. So only using 1 turn is pretty hard. So if you want some time to think about this challenge for yourself, just now you know the rules, go for it and pause it now. Otherwise, I'll show you the answer. So the answer is you can pretty much use any of these ones. I'm going to use this one because it's probably the cheapest. And that's so that you can turn whichever way you like. You could also put them down here if you really want to. And the other thing we want to do is use some of these. These are the key to beating the challenge. Before we do it, you don't need to do this mini, I'm just putting on that mini. Before we go, I'm just going to quickly check my custom ship doesn't have any silly things in it. Alright. And there we go. Now you're going to ask yourself, how can we beat this challenge, mission 14, without shooting upwards? The backsword's just going to shoot sideways, and that's what the area of effect is for. Mission 14, let's go. So you'll see that even though we're not shooting upwards, the blocks above us are still getting killed because the area is so big. And this bit's probably the hardest part of the challenge, is not crashing into the walls. But you can see we're killing them pretty easy. You don't actually need this many area things. You can try and do it with fewer. You just need to be better at flying. And there we go, beat challenge 2. So that's 2 down. So the next one is this one with fighter. Now this one is probably the hardest challenge of strength. And the reason it's so hard is because you've got to beat it in 13 seconds or less, which basically means you need to fly as fast as you can through the whole level. Now you can use as many items as you like, so it's not like the strength one. The first one with Pirate Blade, but the rules that we used in Pirate Blade, they're going to be the same for this one. We want one of each of the good items. Oops, that's a turn. One of the circles, one of the extra projectiles on one of those, and then we already do 1 damage, so this one's very good in project command mode. So that's the 4 you want, and then you can just put any other 2 that you like. I'm going to put this one and this one. And this one, let's have some fun. So there you go. So you can see all the projectiles are going to do 3 damage. There's going to be 3 projectiles. They're going to pierce, and they're going to have AoE, so it's all good. Instead of these, you could have pierce if you like instead. Cool, and that's challenge number 15. Alright, now we're going to be in 13 seconds. I may not complete it the first time just because you've got to go real fast, and you've got to not crash into the central block as well. Let's try it. So you can see I'm almost fast enough to go as fast as you can. I might need to slow down a bit. Not sure we'll get 13 seconds, but it should be pretty close if we don't. That's a good learning opportunity. 13.6, so that actually wasn't fast enough. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to change this to a pierce, and I'm going going to see if that helps. I actually think this AoE doesn't help us, so I'm going to try this and see if that's better. Oop, that's crashing. So I'll explain why the AoE was bad in a second. So normally it's way better because it helps you. There we go. 12.8. So that's a funny one. So I really like this challenge for that reason, because in the old one it was really fine to use an AoE, it would have helped a lot, but in the new version, because it reduces by 6%, it actually ends up reducing it so much that you can't kill the blocks with as many shots. So having the AoE helps us kill more blocks, but it doesn't actually, because it means it kills slower. So that's why I used 2 of each of these items, and that worked fine. We'll keep that ship there as well, because that'll help us in a later challenge. That's a bit of foreshadowing. Okay, and that's all the strength ones done. So now we're going to change our projectile to that one for the next group of challenges, and let's see what they are. So it looks like they're going to be Challenge of Greed now. Let's just get that all lined up nicely. There we go. So greed challenges now. Greed challenges are way harder than the strength challenges. This might be why you're here if you've come looking for how to beat some challenges. Probably one of these. Anyway, Family Cruiser. This one here. So how in the old one, this was a really hard challenge, and they've made it a lot easier in the new version, because now you don't have to worry about getting all the kills. You used to have to get all the kills with a money cross to get the extra damage. Now you just need to hit a block with a money cross and you're fine. You got to watch out for this button here, the auto rotate button, to make it all work well. And it also was harder in the previous versions for a while, because they the ship was not as strong. It had a low fire rate, so they've buffed the fire rate a bit to make it easier too. Now you'll notice something about the items I'm choosing. They're the same every time, and that's basically as you're playing through the game, those are basically what you do anyway. You might not necessarily use this item for it, because if you're only doing 1 base damage it's great, but otherwise it's a bit useless. And on this side we can just choose any 2 of those we like. I'm going to do that one and that one, but it's really here just for the money cross. There we go. And mission 11. Now the money cross will ensure that we do enough money as long as you clear the level, so we just got to fly slowly. You probably could do it better than I'm doing it, but you got a bit of leeway now with the extra fire rate, and the fact you don't have to worry about killing the right blocks. You can see I'm clearing it pretty easily. That's all because we've chosen the good items. 2, 1, and 0. Cool, there we go, beat that challenge. So now we're going to do mission 37 with Alien Seeker. Okay, wish me luck. Oh, not with Family Cruiser, with Alien Seeker. Cool, alright, so let's get Alien Seeker going. Alright, now for this challenge, I haven't found a way of beating it without legendary items yet. If you can beat it without legendary items, I'll be very impressed, and I would definitely like to see that build, so post it in the comments if you find it, or let me know on Discord if you manage to beat that. That would be very exciting for me. But at the moment I'm able to beat it without that. So I'm using this item because if I use the tier damage one, it will do too much damage and it will kill the expensive blocks. So you only want to kill as few blocks as you can get away with on this one. So that's why I'm only using that one. But I need them to kill this blocks at the start of the level. If your tier isn't as high, you might like to use this one instead. It's up to you. And then we don't actually need any other items here. This is another one where you can, if you try using areas or any other thing that pierce, all the ones we said were good in the previous one, they weren't actually happy this time because you killed too many blocks. So we really need to only kill a few blocks, and that's why I'm going to end up using this item. So you might have, if you saw my last video, you might have seen me working that out as well. So it won't be this first go, but we'll show you how it works anyway. So the first idea is you've got to get close to that block, and you want to fly as close as you can to the blocks without crashing, so that way you see how I'm not killing too many blocks. There we go. I kill a bit too many there, but what can you do? So you try and fly close to the side and then come back when you get to kill those ones on the side. I got really lucky there. Just watch it, don't crash. Oh, wait, see how I almost killed that pink block as well? So you've got to be super careful here. I'm mostly out of the woods now, but I've still got to be careful. Ouch. Alright. See if I can get lucky again. Right. It's because the ship's so fat. I mean, long. It's not fat. But his hitbox is very hittable. actually know how to go left, and I think I screwed it already here anyway. That's alright, we killed too many blocks, but it's a good learning experience. Yeah, you got to get a bit lucky with this run because you have to, the random projectile thing has to go the right way. Okay, let's see what we did. That's how you beat it anyway. 378, and we need 373. Okay, so I killed 5 too many blocks. Anyway, this might have to be left as an exercise to the reader if I can't. I can't beat it straight away, but this is looking a lot more promising. Please actually shoot the blocks I need to die. So I can probably kill too many blocks again this time, but maybe we'll get lucky. I'll try going left and see if that's easier. Oh, it's certainly not easy. There's so many blocks that way. We can't go that way, I don't think. Here we go. Let's try a third time. What I might do is, if you notice, it doesn't quite match, I might edit these out so it doesn't look like I crashed so many times. No, so you don't have to watch me crash 100 times. Great. Yay. Alright. I will blame. I'll see on the edge. It's playing skills. I'll leave it. Yeah, that's cool. You go get it. Nice. Alright, let's here. And let's do it. You can be like, we'll stay together. That's cool. Alright, this is 15. Take it. So, we can stay together. I'll leave. Oh, yes. Let's go together. Why? What's it? You can use it. That's 17. Next we got that. That was, oh, that was it. Alright. Go with this. Killed 2 at the end there, that was a bit unlucky. 372. Alright, we got it. Okay, so there we go. And that's, you can see that one's not a very easy challenge. But you can do it, it is possible. So there you go, showed it to you. Alright, it's the hardest challenge down, I think. Now we're going to do task 2C. So for task 2C, we need to use the prototype ship. And we need to earn exactly a huge amount of money. And so the basic idea of this one is you need to use these items, money crosses, and you need to get as many as you can. So now you know that. If you want to pause it for a bit, instead of watching me try and excuse me, watch me try and make that many crosses. One thing to think about is you've got to think about which squares can actually have crosses on them, and how many of those are you actually going to use. That's what we're trying to do here. So let's just test this out. Try this build here, see if this gives me 6. Yep. Turns out it does because I've already done it, so that's not really a surprise. Here we go, so we just put these money crosses on. Now you can use legendary items here, you can use whatever you like to make it real easy for yourself. So we have to clear the mission, and it's mission 6, so you don't really need to use legendary items. Because it's pretty easy, but I'm just going to, might as well, here we go, use that one just to store everything. There we go, and what else do we use? Doesn't matter, let's use that just for fun. Oh no, I'll just use nothing. There we go, cool, alright, and then press UI, yep, they're all rotated. Mission 6. Let's go. Done, cool, alright. You can probably just say, if you want to build without these, you can probably do it just using the good items. Not PS this time, of course. Let's try this. Yeah, who needs legendary items, eh? Cool, there we go. That's it for the, if you want to try it without legendary items. Cool, so that's the greed missions all done. So let's change to the next mission thingies, and let's get this on already. So now we've got honor challenges. Cool, so in this next challenge is it's not hard, it's just a bit dumb. So you can actually use any ship. I think you can even use a custom ship for this one, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to go back and use this fighter. and because we already had it on a previous challenge, just what as well. And then the basic idea is you need to find the world that has only 4 blocks that you can kill. So you look around here, you try and find it. Try and search for ones that are easy to kill. Like this one is not useful because on 4 blocks, so don't do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change to my custom ship here just to kill things fast. But custom ship, that's pretty good. Cool. Alright. Just to unlock the world. Probably should have. And then once we get to the world, I'll show you. It's actually this world here, so we got there already. That's fast. So let's go back to classic. Here we go. So as soon as we jump in, the reason I'm using this ship is because it doesn't kill the blocks too fast. Because if we did kill the blocks too fast, then we might kill some extra blocks. We're only allowed to kill 4, so why don't I kill this one? Now this isn't the only world where it works. It's a few different worlds, I think, where it'll work fine. But this is the one that's the closest and pretty easiest to get to, so there, we completed that challenge. So what it means is you only kill 4 blocks, so that's how we beat it. There you go, it's this world here, world number 5 and 0, so it's just across from the start. It's that one. Let's do the Radio Seeker. Now this one here can take quite a while to work out, so to only fire 1 shot, that's the first bit that's hard. And if you want the solution, if you don't want the solution to that, pause it of course, but if you do want the solution to that, you actually got to use these items here, because what they do is, and I guess you could use that if you really want to, but the way I know to beat it uses this method. So this one here, what it does is it shoots it in randomly only one of 3 directions. So if you put it here, and here you can see the chance it's actually going to get to here is 1 in 3 there, and then 1 in 3 this way, so it's only like 1 in 9. The reason I'm not using 1 down here is because it will go out of that exit. And same for here, we can't use that, but we can use this, and then we can use these ones again here. So if you look at the chance here, it's 1 in 3, and then 1 in 9, and then 1 in 18, and then 1 in whatever 3 times 18 is, and 1 in, whatever 9 times 18 is, 162. So 1 in 162 chance of firing. So I'm going to fire 1 every 162 times that would normally fire. And then we've got to put some, and we don't put any extra projectiles in, that kind of defeats the purpose, but we can put extra damage in just because we need to kill a lot of blocks with just 1 shot. And what you're asking yourself now, I guess, is how do you kill a whole bunch of blocks when you only get 1 shot? What's going on? So one thing you can do is you can use AoE blocks, like these ones, to increase the number of blocks you kill per hit. Now, it's not going to kill a whole stage though. So the other item you need, actually we also need to shoot upwards, so we need this item as well. The other item you need is this item here, and this item here, it keeps destroying the blocks after it skilled them, and because we've got heaps of damage from these things here that we just used anyway to shoot only 1 block, it works pretty well. So let's try it. Mission 10. Now the problem here is we can't guarantee that we'll beat it, because we have to wait until it fires, and the whole point of the ship is that it doesn't necessarily fire, it's all random, so it may just not fire at all. So let's just watch a ship crash into some blocks. Alright, it was fun. So working out this challenge is pretty fun, but actually completing it is not so fun. And before you ask, the reason we need that many is because if it did shoot reliably in the first part here, it would also shoot reliably as we're trying to fly the level. So we've got to just probably engines. Okay, so the engines here. And the engines there. So let's this. See the engine. Yeah, it's here. As you can see, it's not just say it's here. There we go. So we shot 1 shot. Now we just have to hope it doesn't shoot another shot. And we're done. Perfect. There we go. Completed the challenge. So it wasn't the first attempt. If you were speedrunning challenges, this would not be a fun challenge to have to do. So the last one here is practice launcher. In the old version, I had an answer for this that didn't have legendaries, and but that was when the area of effect worked slightly differently. So at the moment, I haven't got a legendary build for this. Sorry, a build without legendaries for this challenge. If you do manage to beat it without legendaries again, I'm pretty sure that's possible without legendaries. There's a lot of different ways to beat this challenge. I just haven't come up with one for the new build yet. So anyway, we're going to go to ship, which is practice launcher. That is over here somewhere. Oh, right next to Radio Seeker, that's cool. So I've already designed a specific thing for it, so we're just going to make sure we follow that guide. So putting this right at the start means that it will add 1 damage when the thing passes here again. So I haven't even talked about the other hard part of this, but that's alright. So we're using this guy again. It's lots of fun. So far we're doing 3 damage here because of that. And then what we're doing here is tripling it, or not tripling it, timesing it by 20, because this is combines them all into 10 and then doubles it, so that makes 20. So that's 20 times now. And then we're doing this one here, 21, sorry, 60, 61. And this corner makes it 62, so it's bigger than 55, and now with 62 though, that's enough to get it back down to 0, and not to 0, to 55. So this is going to have a maximum damage of 55, but you've got to be a bit careful, because in your settings here, you've got to make sure you have this number formatting option, because you don't want any decimal points, otherwise it won't be exactly 55. So it's kind of cheating, but we did it in the last one as well, so it's allowed. Now the other thing you've got to make sure you do is there's exactly 5 exits, and you need to make a multiple of 5, so the easiest way to do that is just to make sure that your ship goes to all the different exits. The reason I'm using bounces in this thing is just because the level isn't very thick. It's quite wide but not so thick, so I don't want to have too many shots. So after I build it, I'll just leave it there for a bit for you to see the build. The main point of this is to get to the 55 that you need, and then this conversion up here is just to make sure you shoot exactly 5 shots. And then these items here are just to make it easier to clear, and we've picked these ones as well for that reason. So here we go. What mission is it? Mission 22. Let's go. So you've got to get a bit lucky with, because you're using the random shots again, you do have to get a bit lucky that it shoots enough, but it's probably a bit overkill. There, you can actually get to see the top of what's going on. We've already beat that challenge. If I do manage to come up with a build that doesn't use legendaries, it'll just be a bit of maths and stuff to work it out, but I will post that as a comment on this video as well. So, and if you manage to as well, please do that too. That would be great if you could. So it's mission 22. I'll just go back and have a look at the ship once more time so you can copy it. There, that's our friend, the 55 damage ship. Cool. And that's all the honor challenges. So let's go back to the last set of challenges, which is insanity. Okay, and insanity challenges are here. Cool, so the insanity challenge, the first one is use Explorer and do, now this is a really cool one, use Explorer and do maximum damage of 2 or less and destroy at least 2 blocks. Now you can destroy at least 2 blocks, and there's quite a few ways of doing this challenge, so don't definitely think about it first and try it out, because you might surprise yourself. It turns out you can actually kill all the blocks, not just 2 of them, and you can even do it quite quickly as well. And so first of all, it can be good to help you see if you're going to pass the challenge to use this setting here that we used in the previous challenge, this setting, just to make sure it's rounding correctly instead of using decimals. I think the challenge will still work even if you're on this mode, but you might as well do that just so you know what's going on. And then what we've got to do is we've got to do Explorer. Now I actually, in the Miner Gun Builder Discord, I ran a competition for people to try and beat this challenge, and the winning builds, I said I'd put them in my video whenever I made it. So instead of my builds here, I'm going to show you 2 that were made by the people who won the challenge. So the first build here is made by White Falcon, and it's a pretty insane build. I absolutely love it. When you see it in action, you'll just be like, how did you even think of this? So he's got all this contraption here to make sure he's not doing too much damage with all of these. The AoEs will help reduce the damage, so that's what these ones here are adding damage to counteract that. And then it's just a whole bunch of bouncing and projectiles, so they're going to bounce. It's really cool to watch. And he's put the speed in to make sure that they get a lot of bounces in before they run out of lifetime. You could probably use a lifetime one as well, but it's not as fun to watch. Here we go. So let's see what Falcon's build in action on mission 56. This is pretty hilarious. You just sit there and you'll see, even after you go past the blocks, none have died yet, but they're all still dying from below, from the projectiles bouncing back and forwards between the blocks, and from the big amount of area as well. So I've already killed 2 blocks. You could finish it there if you want, but I'm just going to see, might as well do is build justice and see how many blocks you can kill. So this build again was made by White Falcon from the Miner Gun Builder Discord. There we go, 5, 4, 3 blocks. There we did, we completed it. We killed 2 blocks. If you cover the 7, there we go, look, exactly 2. Well done, we completed the challenge. And the other build I'm going to show you was made by Tabaknik, and so this one by White Falcon didn't use any legendary items, so that's why I showed it first. But if you want to just completely decimate this level, we're going to look at Tabaknik's one here. So he's pulled out all the stops. He's got faction items, he's got portals, he's got legendary items, he's got all sorts of crazy stuff. And I just like have a look at this build and then watch the video and then come back and look at this build again, because I don't know how he managed to get this to work. It's a masterpiece. But anyway, let's watch it in action. So we're going to fly the same one again. Wow. This hitbox on the ship is crazy. See how the projectiles are flying to the left? Like, it's just I think that's to do with the curve and the central align. It's just I love it. And that's, yeah, so that's his build there. Murders all the blocks. There we go. So that's Tabaknik's build there. He managed to beat it much faster than that by flying a lot better than I did. As you can see, I'm not the best pilot, but probably as you saw from my other challenge as well, where I was trying to pilot through that gap with the Alien Seeker. But there you go, we've managed to beat it. Even if you're not the best pilot, you can still beat it with one of those builds. So I'll just show you this build again, because I love it, it's crazy. And that was Tabaknik's build, and then this is White Falcon's build here. Cool, so thanks to those guys for entering the competition and for making such cool builds. And then we've got 2 more challenges left, so we'll just have a go at those now. The 2 challenges are Eco Seeker, minimum damage equals maximum damage. So the fun part for this one, because minimum damage has to equal maximum damage, what that means is that you pretty much can't use any of these items that have variable damage. And there's quite a few builds that you'd normally make that would normally have those in these ones, so we're going to have to do it without any of those. And the main ones we're going to use are this, obviously, which gives us some damage, and also this one, which normally you don't want to do what we're going to do in this build. You don't want to have too many of these in the right place, in the wrong place, but we're just going to chock it full of them, basically. Do what everyone feels like doing. And we can't do this, because that would shoot one too early, and the challenge here is to make the minimum damage equal the maximum damage. That means that you can't have any variation in your damage at all, so we can't shoot here either. And I'm just doing this so we get heaps of crosses in. It's like a no-no normally, but in this build works fine. You can't use these either, because you could use one, but you can't use more than one, because you have to make sure the minimum damage equals the maximum damage, and that's why. So we're going to put 2 of these, 1 of these to make all those sideways ones shoot upwards, and then we're going to put a couple of these guys. Cool, just for some extra projectiles, and then we're going to do this. And normally just 2 area of effect ones isn't that great for shooting upwards, but because we're only shooting sideways, this will mean we'll shoot 5, each hit will hit 5 wide, and the reason that's useful is because we don't have any one that makes our blocks hit the center, so these are going to help us kill using the projectiles that come upwards using this item. So let's fly it and see how it works. So it's mission 57. You can see the ones on the right aren't dying as fast, because the ones in the middle are getting hit by the blocks, the projectiles on the left and the right, as well as in the middle. Hopefully this is enough to break away through. There we go. done, challenge completed. So there's the build again. You've got to make sure you press this button, otherwise all the damage crosses won't work well. And you can change it up a little bit. You could probably put another one of these here instead of one of these, but so yeah, 6-1. And as you can see, again, we're using all the cool items. And okay, now I know I did say the Alien Seeker challenge was the hardest challenge, and it is, I think, for me, but a lot of people would find this next challenge the hardest challenge. This is mission 19 with Luxus class, and you've got to use one of every non-legendary item. Now, these items here count for the challenge as legendary items, so you can't use any of those, and you don't have to, otherwise it would be impossible. But there's exactly enough spaces on the Luxus class to use every single one of these items once. So let's get to it. I guess now hold on, how many turns have we got? So we've got 4 turns, right? So we can only turn 4 times. No, we've got 6 turns. 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the other one I won't even use it. Oh, hang on, I've used it already. No, I haven't used it. I'll just put it here. Now, what we're going to do on this path, we want to put items that are actually useful. And then over here, we're going to put all the items that aren't useful. So we want to use those good items that we like. I'm going to put this here. Let's use the good items in one of those, but every item's a good item at the moment, so. Oh, this is horrible. Let's do speed. Let's do this. This. Here we go, and then these. Here we go. Okay, so I think that's all the good items. I'm just going to see if I can beat the level with this build, and then I'll put the other items in. Mission 19. Clear mission 19. Alright, so that means I have to kill everything. Okay, yep, let's kill them. I just want to kill this one little block here. Cool. Perfect, cool. Alright, so we had to get a bit lucky with crits, but there we go. We didn't complete the challenge, of course, because we haven't used one of every item. So what I have to do now is make sure I don't use that, I haven't used that, or that, or that, or that. I haven't used the turns, or the speed. I used all those. Did I use Death Pierce? No. Didn't use that. Oh, I'd imagine, I guess that wouldn't be any worse. Probably could have used this actually. And then, actually I will use that, that's way better. Cool. That's way better. What was I thinking? And left, and there's one that I don't know. That one. Cool. There we go. So hopefully that's it. One of every item. Some of them look very similar, like these two, but there you go. Mission 19. Let's go. Wow. Well, that was a silly change. So, what I want to do instead is change it to this one. I think it's going to be this one. Here we go. Here we go. That's better. Alright. So that's a bit cooler because it actually goes in the center where we're shooting. And it's much easier to fly. And target where we want to hit. There we go. Cool, and there we go, and that's the last challenge completed. So all the challenges done. So it looks like this build there, just in case you wanted it. And yeah, I can show you the challenges just in case you want to see them all. But we've completed all the challenges in one video. Anyway, hey, thanks very much for watching, and I hope you found it useful. And I will, that's it. Thank you for watching again. See ya.